These 5 puppy facts that I'm going to share are not only really interesting and fun to learn, but they are going to help anybody that's either looking to get a new puppy or has a new puppy and would love some tips and tricks that help. So let's just jump into this video right meow. Ooh, and before I forget, it would be super cool if you click that subscribe button down below for happier, healthier pets. So for the first puppy fact, puppies can sleep upwards of 10 to 20 hours a day. And that is actually critical to their proper development because remember, when a dog is a puppy, they're developing at the fastest rate during puppyhood than any other time of their life. So proper sleep and proper amount of sleep is really important for their muscle health, their brain development, their immunity. So how can you make the most of nap time with your puppy? See, this is low-hanging fruit on helping your dog and your puppy be crate trained faster, potty trained faster, so might as well make the most of it since they are sleeping so much. What I love to do is when I notice my puppy getting tired, they seem a little groggy, sometimes they get overstimulated and they start kind of having little puppy tantrums, I gently encourage and guide them to their designated sleep area. For us, it is a crate. My favorite crate is linked down below on my shop page. It's the Digs crate, and there are special codes. It's incredible. And what I do is, as I start noticing them getting sleepy, I kind of help usher them along and encourage them to sleep in their crate. If they fall asleep before I can get to them, I gently pick them up and move them to their crate. What this does is, with very little effort on your end, is starting that crate training process early. I start doing this as soon as I bring a puppy home at 8 weeks old or whatever age they are. If your puppy is 5 months old right now, no big deal. You can start this now. Again, what this does is it starts to build their comfortable and positive association with being in the crate. It starts to set the precedent and the foundation that the crate is where you go to rest, relax, and of course sleep. And it also helps crate training so much faster. I try to do this at right when they fall asleep or just before they fall asleep because I don't want to disturb a resting puppy too much, as I want to make sure that they're getting proper sleep, unless, and this is what works for us, if we're like an hour, maybe 2 hours before bedtime and my puppy's seeming super sleepy, I do try to keep them up a little bit so that they won't have to go potty as much throughout the night. I will talk about my potty training secrets at the end of this video, so stay tuned for that. Now for the next puppy fact. Puppies are much smarter than we give them credit for. They are able of really learning concepts, associations, behaviors, basic cues, and obedience, some as early as 3 to 5 weeks old. I know that sounds crazy, but puppies are smart little beings. And again, they're developing at an incredibly fast rate, and that includes their brain. So what I always recommend is as soon as you bring your puppy home at 8, 10, 12 weeks old, or however old they are, I recommend to start working on basic cues, training, obedience, day one. As soon as I bring a new puppy home, I'm taking them outside or to their designated potty area to give them an opportunity to go potty, and then we go straight to their crate or playpen area and we start working on building a positive association between the place that they're going to stay or sleep whenever I'm not around. That first few hours of being home, we work on basic little games going in and out of the crate. And what this does is it starts to set that foundation and expectations and routine, which dogs, especially puppies, crave and thrive on. And then during meal times, because a puppy needs to eat 3 to 4 times a day, what I do is I do that around the same time every day while they're a puppy, because then what will happen is I know that within 15 to 30 minutes or so after eating or drinking, they're going to need to go potty. So it helps me with potty training and staying on a schedule. Also during mealtime, it's what we call team no dog bowl, meaning instead of just giving their food down in a plain dog bowl, I'll actually, when they're a puppy, work with them for 2 to 3 of their meals at least and hand feed them. And what I mean by that is I'll take some of their food and I'll hand it out and I'll wait for the puppy to offer me an SIT or a sit, for example. Once they do that, I release the food and I'm starting to work on sit at 8 weeks old. I'll also hold the food in my hand and they'll try to lick it out or bite it out. And as soon as they're only using their tongue, that's when I release. And what I'm doing is without any cues, without any verbal commands, I'm teaching them that when you use your tongue only, then you get rewarded. That discourages puppy biting and nipping later on and encourages them to be more gentle when taking things from you or family members. Another really important fact that I don't think a lot of people realize is that puppies' ligaments, joints, their muscles, they're not fully developed as a puppy until they get, every dog is different, but around 12 months at the earliest, but usually around 18 to 24 months of age until they're like fully locked and loaded with their joints. And so what that means is puppies tend to have an easier time getting injuries, displayed hips, when their hips kind of fall out from under them, or joint issues in their elbows or their knees if they're doing too much rough and tumble play. So for puppies, I still like to give them physical exercise. I just do it in really short spurts, and I do it for very low impact, low speed, and I don't do it too frequently. But I lean more heavily on mental stimulation and mental enrichment. And what that means are brain games or doing activities for my puppy that are low physical impact, high mental impact, because, hear me out, this is going to save you with your dog for the rest of their life. Mental exercise or mental stimulation using their mind is at least twice as more tiring and stimulating and relaxing and satisfying to a dog, especially a puppy, than physical exercise alone. A lot of times we think that we need to go throw the ball for hours and hours just to tire our dog out. And while that can be a good form of exercise, I have found that if I pair some physical exercise with a lot of mental stimulation, like brain games, my dog is much more satisfied, they're more behaved, they're less anxious, calmer, because tiring the mind tires the body. A few examples, a quick example for a puppy. Go get your muffin tin and put some of their food in each of the bottom of the little holes and the divots in the muffin tin. Put some of their toys on top of the food or treats, and then have your puppy go and forage and dig those out. It's a great way for them to use their nose, to use their paws and natural foraging instinct, and it mentally tires them out. I lean heavily on these games when they're a puppy, and if you want more examples of those, I'll talk about more brain game examples at the end of this video. Now, this next puppy fact is that the time of their life that you can have the biggest impact on their socialization, meaning how they handle new situations, how they react in new environments. Let's say you go to a new park, or how they react around other dogs or strangers or cars driving by. The point in their life where you can have the biggest positive impact, or negative, to be honest, is around that 6 to 16 week time frame is what I have experienced with puppies that I have raised, meaning that you have a very short window. It doesn't mean that if you're past that it's doom and gloom, but you have a very short window to have the biggest bang for your buck when it comes to socializing your puppy, which is around that 6 to 16 week time frame from what I've experienced. And what I like to do is that in that time frame is start socializing my puppy as soon as they come home. And yes, you can start that before they get their shot by working with them on this at home, in your front yard, your backyard, your patio if you're in an apartment. I love to use my car, so before they get their vaccines, a lot of people think that they can't go out and about. You absolutely can, at least I do. For me and my dogs, when they're puppies, we put them in the car. I put a nice, clean, thick blanket down. I go drive to a park where there's going to be dogs in the distance, not going to ever meet nose to nose or anything. I put a blanket down. We have a mid-size SUV, so we just lift up the trunk and there's a little, place we can sit, or you could sit in your back seat of your car with the window down or the door open. I have a nice harness and leash on my puppy, of course, so I can keep them from jumping out. I put a blanket on the seat, and we watch dogs and puppies and bike riders and kids laughing all in the distance. And I usually feed them their meals or give them a nice chew that they love or play with them with toys. And I let them experience all that's around them with nothing bad happening, while rewarding them for being calm and engaging in me. This is how I love starting socialization with puppies right away. For the next puppy fact that kind of tails on that is a puppy's early months and early weeks of their life are just as important to their overall lifelong mental well-being and physical health well-being as well as it is for humans. I'm sure you've learned that a human, their first 1 to 7 years, I believe it is absolutely critical and absolutely sets up the person's next of their life. If they have trauma or really negative things happen in the first 7 years of a human's life, it can really impact them for the rest of their life. Same thing goes for puppies in the early months and weeks. And that's why I'm such a big advocate of giving your puppy as many new experiences, ensuring the result and outcome is positive, of course, as possible from the get-go when you bring them home. So another example is I love to play on the TV, nothing blaring, but fairly loud, some noises that may be triggering for many dogs. Thunder, lightning, you can find soundtracks for free on YouTube. Fireworks, maybe gunshots, car backfire, children laughing or screaming or squealing. And I play that during mealtime. So the dog may be eating, which they maybe really enjoy, or maybe they're playing with their favorite toy if they're toy motivated. But in the background from early ages, they're used to these noises playing. I'll even open the window so they can hear the outside birds chirping that can make a lot of dogs nervous when they get older. Just really handling my puppy, touching their mouth and their teeth and their ears. And so what that does is it gets them more comfortable with a lot of different sensations when they're older. And a quick puppy pro tip is I love having friends and family that don't necessarily have older dogs, or at least have healthy, fully vaccinated dogs, come over as much as possible in the early weeks and early months so that my dog can get used to people ringing the doorbell, knocking on the door, coming in and out of their house. And I work with them on their place cues. So again, don't forget to click that subscribe button if you want to join this community of happier, healthier pets. Now let's talk about crate training. We said that we were going to give some tips on crate training and potty training. For my favorite crate training tips, click the video right here and we'll go through in depth together on how I crate train puppies very quickly. Or if you want to see my one-step potty training process that has helped millions, click the video right here and we'll jump over there. And I hope you have a beautiful day. Goodbye.